Hello, my name is Robbie. This is Studio One. This is my talk through of the track that I am submitting for Loopop's magnificent competition. I'm gonna take you through firstly just the drums, then I'll look at the synths, then I'll look at what I've done to my voice. So firstly this kick drum, this is Portal. Just one of the kick drums in that sample library. It uses, as most if not all of my drum programming, uses the pattern editor. Let's have a look at the drums that come in the chorus. Again, it uses the pattern editor, uses that kick drum, that snare, and then these fellas up here. It uses the Perkins sample library. I don't think I'm doing anything in particular with the filter. That's just the sounds as they came out of the sample library. Okay, let's have a look at the verse main drum pattern. Also Perkins. Again, we're just using the pattern editor, although this one is presenting as though maybe I did record this in as audio, as MIDI. Just two sounds, hi-hat and snare. Okay, let's have a look at the 6 pattern. Also the Perkins. This one I have done something to the filter. I've set the filter to the high pass. We're just using one sound, just that guy there. It's called 6 pattern, and it's because it's in a 6 pattern. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, let's have a look at the long cymbals. This just happens in the chorus. Also the Perkins, again just using a few sounds. I guess we recorded this in. This is just as it is, these are just long notes, so I haven't done anything to those samples. Okay, so those are all the strictly drum sounds. Let's just hear them together. Okay, in the drum group also we've got this buchla sound. The buchla I created with the SL Mark III, a random arpeggiator. In some of the choruses also I took out some of the notes. Let's have a look at a different chorus. Yes, you see in this one I took out these series of notes, but in this one I took in a slightly different sequence of notes, and in this one I took out a slightly different sequence of notes. Buchla is again just the Buchla sample set. I have filtered using the high pass filter with a certain amount of resonance just to make it a bit less bassy. Okay, let's look at the bass. This is the Udo 6 bell and tail sound. I found that this sounded really nice as a bass. The one, this sample here, Udo 6 54 100, was a bit harsher, so I found myself extending the C3 down a little bit so that all of my notes were from this sample onwards. I have done a little bit of filtering with a low pass filter. The cutoff is, as you can see, about 12 o'clock there. There are two different bass patterns. The bass was played in. I'm not sure if I quantized or not. Let's just listen to the chorus. Sorry, this was the chorus. Let's listen to the verse. The bass and the kick drum have a nice close relationship. Also, a little bit later on, let's talk about this instrument. It's the Waldorf M. Not a lot of filtering, haven't done a great deal to the sound. Particularly in the verse, rhythmically the bass, the kick drum and this Waldorf M sound are doing very similar things. The Waldorf is here to support the chords. Okay, let's look at some of our other synths. Let's look at the strings. So lots of stuff we've done to this one. We've got a low pass filter with the cutoff quite low and with the LFO controlling the filter. If you see this bit here, it's set to triplet quarters. And what I've done is it only does this LFO in the verses. In the choruses, it stops that. If you look at this track and look at automation, this is automating, it does automate the cutoff, but it also automates the LFO, either turns the LFO on or off. So at the beginning of each chorus, let's listen to this chorus. Beginning of each chorus, it turns off the LFO and it pushes the cutoff nice and high. This is also played in. I think I quantized the very beginning notes of each section, but other than that, it's unquantized. These are the chords. Let's let it go into the verse. You hear the LFOs come back in again. These are the verse chord. Also of note here is that actually the sound itself has a little bit of an envelope on the filter. Okay, we've looked at the Waldorf M choir. Let's look at the Waldorf M being this arpeggiating sound. Can't remember if I played this in or if I programmed it. I was really into these really tiny sounds. It has two different kind of feels, this arpeggiating part. It has this faster one in the choruses, and then when we come to the verse, and yes, did we do anything to the sound of you? Yes, we did. Again, we're using a high pass filter with a cutoff up there, so it's pulling out the bottom of that sound. Okay, let's go to this bell-like sound. This is the hydrosynth on the piano pad. This was played in. Don't think I quantize it. And then this is the this kind of 3 pattern that it does there is partly why I chose to have the strings in this 3 thing as well. Don't 3 1 2 3 1 2 3. We done anything to the filtering here? I don't think so. This is pretty much the sound as it arrived. Okay, so let's go to the lead sound. This is the main melody, which later on gets picked up by the voice. This is on the Nymphes. This was the unison lead sound. We are filtering it a little bit. We brought the cutoff down a little bit. Yes, 2 contrasting parts. In the chorus you've got the melody. And in the verse it just does this repeating line with a similar rhythm to its chorus part. Yeah, occasionally we change the rhythm of it to suit the words. So this sound naturally dies away. I've also brought in this other sound with it. This sound doesn't naturally die away, so I had to indulge in a little bit of automation. If you see, the volume is set to come down after those notes. Let's just have a look at that again. If you look at it in the mixer as well. So I'm artificially giving that note a nice slow ending. This sound in general has quite an interesting journey. Let's hear it in all its glory. This sound is also the Nymphess, but this is Spread'em. Quite a high cutoff on a high pass ladder filter. And actually what this did was it cut off most of the fundamental frequency, and what was left was one of the higher harmonics. So I played this in. This is what it does in the chorus, just to listen to the lead part there. Sort of picks up the last note of the lead. But actually what happened, because this was actually playing mostly at a higher harmonic, it was a fourth or a fifth out of tune. So in the end, I decided to take these notes and just pitch them down by a fourth or a fifth. Let's just have a look at these notes. Are what the lead is doing. It's up there, sort of starting on a G, and the Nymphess is doing the same notes, but it's down there starting on a B. Okay, so let's keep going. We've got our... okay, and finally we have our chorus melody, which is a vocal melody. Vocal melody follows the same melody as that lead.
Loopop goes to Super Boost, brings back all these lovely sounds, then releases them to us.
Naked voice. Okay, so we're using a couple of third-party fellas on here. We've got G-Snap.
Sounds of future and retro.
I might not have used that very well. The intention was to sharpen up the tuning on it. I'm also using Fromage.
Loopop goes to Super Boost, brings back all these lovely sounds,
and actually,
and releases them to us.
if you have a look at what Fromage is doing,
his obedient YouTube crowd synthesizers unreleased.
This is quite an interesting process.
Super Boof under the trees, sounds of future and retro, in the hands of you and me.
Let's just show it to you, the automation that's happening there.
Brings back all these lovely sounds, then releases them to us. His obedient YouTube crowd synthesizers unreleased. Super Boof under the trees.
Quite a laborious process.
Sounds of future and retro, in the hands of you and me.
Quite a laborious process. Studio One uses a 0 to 127 for these values. Yes, this is calling it, Studio One calls it 74.5, Fromage calls that point 2491, which I think is hertz. It can also express it as a note, which is D sharp 8. So this is about an octave above, or possibly 2 octaves above the actual chorus melody that I'm singing. I quite liked the sound that the high resonance, high-ish resonance filter gave to my voice to allow it to cut through. There's 2 different sets of lyrics for the 2 choruses.
A big thank you to Loopop for creating this content.
You can see all these This is the filter settings on all of these synth sounds. This is how I've faded out. So this is why I chose to put a filter on my voice, because I was fading out all the other instruments through their filters. I wanted to have a way to manipulate the filter on my voice. So just to show it, this is the kick portal drum, and we're looking at the cutoff here. And let's listen to it as well. You might not be able to hear it so well on the kick portal drum. This is the cutoff here we're going to look at. Gradually it's coming down. This is again the cutoff gradually coming down. This time, because the 6 pattern is using a high pass filter, the cutoff just comes up slightly, just inches up. Gradually makes a whisper out of that sound. Long cymbals. It's a low pass filter. It's the eco filter, in fact. Let's look at the Buchla. Buchla is using a high pass filter as well, so it's to fade out, it increases the cutoff. Just gets thinner and thinner as it goes there towards the end. For the bass, it is a for the arping sound, also using a high pass filter, HP12, so this has the cutoff increasing as we get closer and closer to the end. The strings uses a low pass filter. So gradually comes down to fade. The Waldorf M choir is also using a low pass filter. It's not such an effective fade. The piano pad. This also is a low pass, and it's then finally we've got our lead fellas. Again, it uses a low pass filter. Ah no, this guy is a high pass filter, so it's fading out by pushing its cutoff upwards. Okay, well, and then of course our voice has also got a little bit of filter manipulation right at the end.
But I know if I should win,
as well as the filter.
I would like a Lyra 8. So much madness in one box, a good reason to create.
There you go.
But I know if I should win, I would like a Lyra 8. So much madness in one box, a good reason to create.
Okay, there you go. That was my somewhat lengthy discussion of how I made this track for the fantastic Loopop competition. Thank you very much. I will be uploading this Studio One file up to my Google Drive, and there will be a link of that available. Thank you very much. I hope you enjoy the music. I have been Robbie Longcat. Thank you very much.